So both of us are, big fans of Mark Cuban. And so when I heard that he was going to be here at South by Southwest, I knew that I was going to stand in line if I had to go and watch his talk with Guy Kawasaki, who is also, a very interesting and highly visible individual. So again, another reason that we knew that the session was likely going to be packed, and it was. It was. And so you have two, Mark Cuban's a billionaire. Just candid, very candid talk, one-on-one on the main stage at South by Southwest. They talked about everything from the Dallas Mavericks, and if you know who Mark Cuban is, you know that he's had a lot of run-ins with.
Yeah, to kind of educate, if you don't know, he's the guy on Shark Tank.
Yep.
And he is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks,
right.
And he is a technology billionaire. Yes,
invented. Access TV right now is his big venture. Mm-hmm. He's had a lot of. It was Micro Solutions was kind of his first company, and HDNet was kind of the thing that really elevated him. He was broadcast. He was one of the first people to really be able to monetize broadcasting on the internet. He started off broadcasting sports and other things before anybody else was doing it.
And didn't that roll into YouTube?
It didn't roll into YouTube. It rolled into something else, but I can't remember. So much bypass that. And so he talked about the challenges that he's faced. He gets very into his games, and so he's been fined many times by the NBA.
Very colorful personality.
And he talked about being in the business of being an owner of a sports team, and is it really profitable? What are the challenges? What are the rewards? He talked about his experience on Shark Tank. A couple interesting takeaways. If you're a fan of the show, which like both of us are, he gave us a little bit of an insider perspective in just his interactions with the other sharks and kind of how their personalities clash. They record over an 8-day period, twice a year.
Yep.
And so he talked about how tense that can get after 8 days of being in the same room as these other sharks for 14-hour days, and how sometimes when they're being snippy at each other, that's why.
It's real. It's not an acting snippy.
And it's real money. Like he confirmed, yes, we are actually, giving our own money to these entrepreneurs. Right. There's even a failure rate.
Yes, there is a failure rate. 60 to 70% of deals actually close at the end of each season.
What happens to them?
He talked about, what was it? What did he call it? Oh, due diligence. So they go in after the show airs, and they say, when you said it was $2, that's only if you make 1 billion of those widgets.
And they made 700 or something like that.
And you only have sold 700.
Yeah.
So that's not entirely accurate.
One guy didn't pay his taxes.
Yeah.
Or it was the husband of the entrepreneur that
who was living off the grid and thought that it was unconstitutional to pay taxes, and so he just had never paid taxes. And so Mark Cuban was like, I can't be involved with you because somebody's going to come after me.
After the billionaire that could pay his taxes. He talked about his run-ins with the SEC. Mm-hmm. He shared just a lot of anecdotes about just what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it means to have an idea for a business and to really sell it. And honestly, the biggest takeaway was he just said, work hard. Like the quote was, the only thing that you can control about yourself is the amount of effort that you put into it. And so whether you have natural talent, natural ability, or the right person or whatever, effort still matters. And so talked a lot about college and college debt and people coming into the workforce after that. I think one of he touched on a lot of things with college, like going to a cheap school for the first 2 years and then going to kind of the prominent school.
Basically just avoiding education debt at all possible.
Yeah, but the biggest thing was, and I love this, that people leave college expecting to get the perfect job. Mm-hmm. And he said, you can't expect that. You have to just go out and start working. And I understand people, that graduate with $100,000 in debt. Like, you can't necessarily go and work at McDonald's. You won't be able to.
Well, I don't think they would consider that like a good job, though, if you graduated with $100,000 in debt.
Right. You won't even be able to pay your minimums in school debt. But but that doesn't mean you wait a year or 2 years to find, if you have an architecture degree, to find work at an architecture firm. You go and you work any job you can and build with the mind that you're going to build towards it.
Yeah, his quote was, "You've been paying to learn, now get paid to learn."
I loved that. Yep.
He said, "Take a job where you can learn, not the perfect job." So, you know.
And so many people that are graduating college are holding out for that.
Yeah, don't make the perfect job your goal. Make learning on the job your goal. So with every job that you take, and he also said, don't be afraid to bounce around. If you're done learning at that job, or if that job didn't pan out to be the learning experience that you thought, get out. Move on. Find somewhere where you can learn.
And what's amazing about that is that, you know, in history, even a generation or two ago, people got into a line of work and they worked until retirement. 40 years, 50 years even sometimes at the same company. That's not the case anymore. People stay 5 years is a good run at a company.
Yeah.
And so take advantage of the fact that you have that mobility and learn new skills and bounce around and get the kind of experience that you need.
Something that going back to him talking about Shark Tank, what he said was like a big takeaway. He said, Shark Tank proves, the success of Shark Tank proves that the American dream is still alive.
Yep.
And
it's why I watch the show. I mean, I just love seeing people's dream and a chance for a better life being realized.
Yeah.
And real quick, another anecdote about that is he mentioned that families watch Shark Tank together. Mm-hmm. And so he's met 6- and 8-year-old kids that
love him because he's on Shark Tank.
Love him because he's on Shark Tank, but they're learning about business and how wealth is created and how jobs are created and how people need to work hard and have a plan and come up with a good idea and all these things. It's realizing the American dream, and that's what's so cool about it.
Yeah. Guy also asked him what he felt were the next wave of things to come around, like what should we be getting involved with?
Oh yeah.
And he said his suggestions or thoughts were sensory-driven devices.
Yep.
And anything involved in personalized healthcare. So, you know, any sort of app that can help you be better. He had on a Jawbone.
I don't know what a Jawbone is.
It tracks your steps. It tracks your heart. It's like a Fitbit, but it doesn't cause rashes and it doesn't track you sleep at night.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, basically like a Fitbit. It's like a less technological Fitbit.
What was it? Was it Cuban that mentioned, you know, that the healthcare industry is more about this? It's sick care. It's very focused on the people that are actually sick rather than on the people that are working to be healthy. And so he wanted to invest in technology that helps people maintain their health rather than get sick and then need doctors and healthcare.
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember if that was a Case or.
I feel because both Case and Cuban talked about it, and so it was one of the two.
Yeah. But then the funny thing that he said was South by Southwest is the spring break for Silicon Valley.
And like half the room cheered.
Or relatively cheers. So
we were there with a bunch of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.